Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Reach out to us directly for pricing, tmosso at the1916company.com. Today, we're discussing a 2022 launch from the folks at Grand Seiko in Japan. This is the Grand Seiko Spring Drive GMT SBGE285 from the Evolution 9 collection. This is the latest and greatest as Spring Drive GMTs go. 41 millimeters in diameter in titanium. It is 14.3 millimeters thick. If we just measure lug to lug, the case is 48 millimeters across. If we measure end link to end link, total distance is 51.7 millimeters across the wrist with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Being mostly sapphire and titanium, it's a very light watch in spite of its substantial size, and it's thin enough that it will fit underneath most cuffs and all jackets. On my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference, I would say this is about the right size. It's a substantial watch in terms of footprint, so you're going to want a wrist of my size or larger. So 16 centimeters circumference and up. Taking a look down the barrel once, you can see that the case itself doesn't edge out to the limit of my wrist, but those solid end links do, and that's going to be the limiting factor for fit. The bracelet, like the case, is made of what Grand Seiko calls high-intensity titanium, which I take to be the chemical equivalent of grade 5. In other words, it's a fairly hard material that'll take a nice polish and is likely a lot more scratch-resistant than grade 2. It's also hypoallergenic and much lighter than steel. Of course, this being a Grand Seiko bracelet in titanium, they use pins and sleeves for fixing removable links. It's a secure system and it defies stripping out, but at the same time, you will need a block and punch if you want to size this at home. And you can see that intermediate size links are used in case you find yourself in between link sizes, so you can fine-tune the fit. We have a single fold titanium clasp here. You can see with satin finish, media blast and polish, twin trigger release, so you have to press both for this to open up. It will not open inadvertently, so you have a great deal of security. The case features Grand Seiko's well-established and renowned black polishing, or zaratsu. Zaratsu is the Japanese word for Zalitz machine polishing. The machines are of European origin, but the foremost practitioners of this type of hand finish are the folks in Japan at Seiko and Grand Seiko. And you hold the surface to be milled against a spinning tin plate to create this optically smooth surfacing that's polished beautifully. And it takes about 3 years to master, so this is a true hand-finished case. We have a crown here that is screw down. The watch is 100 meters water resistant. The bezel features satination, polish, and then satin again. 24-hour style bezel because we have a 24-hour hand. This is a dual-time watch. The 24-hour hand makes one circuit of the dial per day. The 12-hour hand, obviously, two. The 12-hour hand is synced to the date, so that's how that works. You can see how that works. You can turn forward or backwards, adjusting the date in either direction as you cross the international date line. There's a power reserve indicator for the spring drive movement, so 72 hours of power reserve, 3 full days. You got a little reminder of how much is left. You could see the perfectly smooth glide of spring drive. No starts, no stops, no ticks, no tocks. Because the governing wheel for this system moves in one direction only and continuously, it is the only truly smooth, uninterrupted glide of any seconds hand on any watch. And the accuracy is superb. No worse than 15 seconds per month. Remember, a mechanical chronometer is -4 + 6 seconds a day. We do have a stop seconds function. If you wish to pull out the crown, you can stop it. Caliber 9R66 has a hacking function as well as the 12 and 24-hour dual time. All of the dial furniture is hand finished. So all of these indices, the frame for the date, the logo, the hands, micro-faceted by artisans who work with tiny diamond-tipped milling tools, and their full-time gig is making these little parts. The parts are then fixed to the dial and caulked in place manually. I've always said Grand Seiko and Rolex are tops in the mainstream luxury class for dial quality, but they go about it a very different way. Grand Seiko does it primarily by hand finishing and assembly. Rolex perfects the process and does it in automated fashion. This, in my opinion, has more soul. Now, the dial is somewhat like the snowflake design that's received a lot of attention and acclaim since it first dropped, but this is actually designed to evoke the mist that shrouds the peaks around Nagano Prefecture in the winter, and that is where the studio that builds the spring drive calibers, that is the Shinshu studio, does all the spring drive, does all the quartz. That is where that is located. They are up in Nagano, and so you would see something like this sort of gray frosted mist encircling the mountains up there. So this watch has a lot to offer. Now, spring drive. This is something that was first conceived in 1977, and it wasn't actually brought to market until 1999 because it's just hard to do. You can see the movement back here, 30 joules, automatic winding, and a unidirectional governing wheel. So no batteries, no capacitors, no stepper motors. You can see there's a ghosted Grand Seiko lion on the back. Not the easiest thing to see, but trust me, he's there. So the spring of the mainspring barrel drives a train that spins this governing wheel. That creates an induced electrical current that activates the quartz oscillator. The quartz oscillator then uses an electromagnetic braking force to slow down the glide of the seconds hand. And seconds hand, minute hand, and hour hand are all hard geared together. So by slowing that speed, you slow this speed and this speed, and thus you wind up with a superior timekeeper that is mechanically driven but has quartz accuracy. It's a unique technology. It's something that only the folks in the Seiko family of watches do. So if you love this watch, and I think we should probably show you how it looks in the dark, notice that the 24-hour hand is differentially loomed. But if you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.